And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Horizon Weekly Insider number 99. Today is August 9th, 2021. Thanks for joining us live here on Discord and YouTube. And please be aware that this call is being recorded as usual and will also be available for you to check out later in our Horizon podcast. Also, please remember to ask your questions on the Menti link while this call is happening so the team can answer them at the end. So, without further ado, I'll pass the mic now to Alberto Garofalo to provide us with the engineering updates. Welcome, Alberto.
Thank you, Angie. And as usual, let's start with Sendu updates, and in particular about the two remaining issues on Sendu, which were addressed the last week, and they have been finalized. So, moreover, we performed internal review and completed it, and so we were able to share such fixes with the third-party auditing company that is now going through the code. Regarding the proving system, so the other audit, between last week and today, we finished working on the last four open items. Now, what is left is just the internal review, which is ongoing, and we plan to finish it this week. All the other highlights that were previously addressed were also shared with the third-party auditing company, which already completed the final review and confirmed that everything is good to go. Okay, proceeding with the other projects. So obviously we keep moving forward with infrastructure-related activities to prepare the parallel testnet for code deployment. And the testing phase for these activities is in progress, and we are testing many different scenarios. For example, testing with full blocks. So we are, let me say, generating, for example, certificates in a way that are, let me say, fit and make the block full of certificates, and seeing how the mempool is reacting on that, and how the mining process is happening. I mean, what's the time for delivering the blocks, validating it, and so on. And this is a real, let me say, it's a crucial test because it gives us, let me say, the elements that are needed for understanding if we have issues in terms of performances or not. And okay, so far everything good with the number we have tested, and also we tested with I mean, a huge amount of sidechains. So currently everything is okay. But I mean, we have intermediate. These are intermediate results, and we expect to have more complete tests also regarding performances in the next few days. Okay, now regarding the next delivery, we completed an implementation and the first code review of the SDK versioning related changes. And the development got the approval during the first code review cycle, and now it's now ready for final review. Moreover, we're continuing with the design sessions, and in particular, again, on the SDK side, where we have completed the design of the witnesses generator for the base transaction proofs in block proposal. So here we have to modify the SDK in order to, let me say, feed the circuit, and so to generate the proof for the whole state transition. So because you remember in our final SDK version, we will have a full proof of the state. This means that the SDK should pass all the data that is necessary for generating this proof. So we made the design session, I mean, a previous design session, let me say, high level, and now we are, let me say, defining the more detailed one, and so this was done, for example, for the base transaction proof for in the block proposal. Okay. Moreover, again, on the SDK side, we are proceeding with the research and tests about the transactional version database that we are going to use in the next SDK release. Okay, this is important from many point of view. First, we need to have a easy way for rolling back. I mean, for example, when you have to go, when you have to amount some blocks, you have to go back to the state, to the previous to a previous state. And we need to have a, let me say, a fast way for going back to the state. And moreover, there are also some other needs for looking at the previous version and simulating applying changes from that version. And so we we started looking at possible database implementations that we can use from the SDK side that are more performant than the one that we are currently using. And I think that we have a good candidate that seems performing very well. And so tests currently cover both functionalities and performances that are needed, for example, for fast rollback, commit operations, and so on. So this is another important part of the new SDK that we are working on right now. In the meanwhile, obviously, we move on with also the circuits where we are proceeding also in developing the various circuits that are involved in the whole proving, let me say, part. Okay, this is probably all for today. Back to you, Angie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alberto, for the great updates. Now let's continue with Lucy for the marketing section.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So last week, we announced a partnership with Morpheus Network. So Morpheus is a blockchain-based supply chain software as a service middleware platform. So their focus is on improving supply chain operations through emerging technologies like blockchain. So the partnership is to build a blockchain and integrate it with their supply chain platform. This blockchain will serve as a notarization layer with privacy functionalities. Businesses will be able to record each step in the supply chain on this blockchain. So there will be transparency in the process, but at the same time, sensitive information will be protected. So this will greatly reduce the operating cost and human errors and improve reliability for Morpheus Network. So please check out the announcement Erica just posted in the chat. And then you can also see it on our news portal, horizen.io/news. So we are going to host an AMA with the CEO of Morpheus Network tomorrow. We will post details and also collect questions from the community later today. So keep an eye out on our social media for updates. So speaking of AMA, our team also had an AMA with Bitcoin.com last week on Telegram. The content of the AMA will be published in our blog this week. That's it from me. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Lucy. Let's continue with Rosario for the product and engineering.
Good morning, good afternoon. I love seeing the live participants of this call growing each week. It just makes it more exciting to see that. Okay, so over the last few months, we've focused on growing the product team so we can properly support various projects and products. And you've heard me and Zane mention this over the last few weeks as well. We are in the early stages of forming 4 teams within the product team. And I mentioned this last week, but just as a reminder, we'll have a tools team, a Sidechains team, SDK as a product team, and an evangelist team. And Zane has brought a very refreshing flavor to the mix, and he's been focusing specifically on organizing the activities within those teams and actually in the hiring process to support team members to be part of those teams. Well, the first team that we have fully organized right now is our tools team. And they'll be led by John Camardo, our product manager, technical product manager in our New York office. And the focus of this team will be to enable developers to build on the Horizen ecosystem. And obviously, the first focus will be to ensure Sendu compatibility of these tools for launch. Some of these projects are currently ongoing, but they'll be just organized in hopefully a more efficient fashion and just more focused direction with the Block Explorer, which is a project that's ongoing, JavaScript libraries, and supporting third-party Zen integrations like Rosetta, for example, Queen Payments, maybe others. So these are integrations. We'll be supporting integrations that may be customized, and we'll want to make sure that our parties that have these custom integration platforms are properly supported. The other team that is currently already had been formed, but will be further organized, will be the Sidechain team. And those are the teams that are working with our partners. So a little update on the migrating from the general update to the project updates. We have our project with Celsius. So we have weekly sessions with our Celsius partner, and they've added a new team member to their team to support this project, and it's a developer that is familiar with zero knowledge. So this is extremely important because from their end, we have the zero knowledge expertise, but Celsius would also like to be a second set of eyes and contribute. So they brought this new team member to our project team, and I think it's just a further cementing that collaboration among our team. We've completed for milestone 2, and that's the broadcasting of Bitcoin transactions. We've completed the cryptographic elements, and the integration is ongoing. We still need to add unit testing and just complete that integration process and testing process. But we are on track for the end of the month to complete milestone 2. Milestone 3 will require front-end development and additional scoping out. So we are in progress of doing that. As a reminder, Celsius will be our first sidechain that goes live along with Sendu. And for Game Chain, we are making great progress. The game developer is still making changes, but they've actually published a game application for testing. So we will be testing that and providing feedback on both the blockchain components, but also the user interface and flow, just to make sure that it's good. And there's another project that is ongoing. I won't spill the beans on this one because it's a very important project that will require a proper press release. But we are working with a major project in the crypto space, and it's top project. So this we're very, very excited to start. So where we are with this project is we've defined a vision, an idea of what we want to what our collaboration will be. And we took that idea into starting defining it at a deeper level. So we are at that stage where we are designing the back end and functionality, and we hope to have that announcement soon. But I'm sorry, I didn't want to spill the beans on this, but it was one of the projects that I haven't mentioned over the last few weeks, and we are making great progress. So I just wanted to give the rest of the community some insights into it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosario. And now let's continue with Vano for the BD and operations updates. I'm not able to hear you, Vano. Can you try to speak again?
Hey, Angie, while we're waiting on Bono, can I jump in here?
Sure thing.
Yeah, so I like to keep track of what the other what's going on in the system, and there's always new things that are happening in the crypto and Bitcoin world. There's right now in the U.S. Congress, there's a debate on things of proof of work and proof of stake, and it seems like there's something new every week. And then this week there's excitement about NFTs, and then DeFi goes back and forth. There's always these latest and greatest things, and early on it feels that it's important to chase these latest and greatest things. But I think what we've kind of developed over the years is we have something here at Horizen that's really unique and useful, the side chains. And not a lot of people are talking about side chains now. But you know what? In a few months, they will be talking about side chains a lot because we've set up a system where we don't have to develop everything, so that we can have partnerships where other people can build things on side chains and they'll be able to do them rapidly. And part of the ways that we're able to have these successful partnerships is, I know it seems very basic, but doing what we say that we're going to do. And so we have a plan, we work the plan, and we don't have unexpected surprises. And when people see this over a long period of time, they're willing to invest their time and their money and their expertise to develop on that platform. And so by having the basic platform of sidechains, it then allows us to go in all these different directions. So I personally think, non-fungible tokens is going to be a huge part of it. But Bitcoin and the Lightning Network is really cool. Also in the payment space, doesn't mean that Horizen needs to chase the payment space, but it does mean that when we get the sidechains going, there's no reason that one of these partners that see how we have created this project and developed it and provided the tools and not provided any surprises to people will be able to do some kind of payments app on a sidechain. So that's for some of the people that are new to this broadcast. This is why we're always talking about getting the side chains done and working with partnerships. I know that the non-fungible tokens is going to actually be huge because it's a generic thing that can be applied to so many different things, not just JPEGs, not just art, but even more basic types of things like titles and documents and things like that. It's going to be a major change. But all these updates about where the project is and the little things and the improvements and going to another test net and stuff like that, that all fits into the bigger picture where we have this whole array of partners and developers out there that have come to see us as a reliable project with unique and different technology that they can put their time and effort into. Anyway, thanks for letting me jump in there.
Thank you so much, Rolf. Vano, would you like to give it a second try?
Yeah. Do you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, sorry for my mic issues. I just had an electricity outage and everything cycled. So, hello everyone again. Happy Monday. I'm happy to say that our wallet ecosystem is growing, and it's really great to see that. From our social media, you might have already noticed that Zen has been integrated on Decent Wallet. Decent is a Korean company, very active and popular in Korean market, but also internationally as well. They have 3 products, 2 hardware wallets, biometric wallet and hard wallet, and another software-only wallet. You can already test the software wallet and see how Zen works there. And if you like it, then obviously you can get hardware wallet as well. And the team is very professional, and I really enjoyed the whole integration process with them. So really happy to have them in our ecosystem. And please give that integration a try. That's all from me, and back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Vano. Now let's welcome Rob for the final part in the Q&A session.
Hello, everyone. Just want to remind everyone that we are in the midst of summer work schedules. What this means is that team members are going to be rotating in and out on vacations, which we encourage everyone to take to work off some steam, since it's been an especially tough year with all the work that we've been doing. But probably the best thing about vacation time is that you find out where you need redundancies, where you need cross-training, and just making sure that we don't kind of rely on single points of failure. So the team's just been doing a fantastic job on scheduling times out of the office, making sure they're handing over work, making sure that relevant people for particular areas are cross-trained so that they can continue work while other people that have been doing the work are out. So it's actually a really big part of organizational health overall. Really happy with the progress the team's been doing. And speaking of the team continues to grow. We have a new dev starting this week. But I will let her get settled before introducing her to the community. But just really exciting that we just continue to have such high caliber people joining the team, and we are trying to hire more rapidly without compromising quality, obviously. So a lot of the big updates that you've heard today, obviously the one that we keep talking about is the big push for Sendu release. Just want to highlight a few things that you've heard and give some shouts out to team members who have just been doing a fantastic job. Number one, everything's on schedule. We're still in the audit and testing phase. Currently, internal testing, which you've heard about, and through both audit, design reviews, and most recently through testing. So 2 shouts out. One, Palo T. Awesome job identifying an area for improvement. Chronic, same thing, on just diving forward on testing as you always do, helping stress things and figure out other areas for improvement. So I was really happy to hear the updates from Alberto weekly on our sync calls on how good the team's working together and just improving the code base as we head towards launch. Audit findings are to be completed this week, like Alberto mentioned, and the parallel testnet, which is a very important milestone for us to finally get this code operational on a testnet so that everyone in the community can try to beat it up as much as you can, is getting ready for launch. TBD on the actual date, but the team's just working hard on getting that live. More shouts out. Apparently we have a really high performing team, but Dean and his team continue doing a fantastic job on rallying VCs, venture capital investment funds, and other key stakeholders into the ecosystem to prepare for a much more significant and aggressive ecosystem growth phase immediately upon Sendu's release. So we're not, again, taking just a passive stance here where we're going to have some software go live. I mean, there's a ton of work on the technology side, but there's a ton of work on the messaging, on the marketing, on the business side, on bringing in key stakeholders, getting investors, for doing now ecosystem growth. Now, we haven't been doing the types of ecosystem growth where if you go look at, just kind of go DuckDuckGo search ecosystem for Ethereum, ecosystem for Cardano or Polkadot or any of these other projects, you will see a whole bunch of participants in there, from NFT providers to various smart contracting applications to DEXs, swaps, peer-to-peer lending platforms, all of these types of things that we have yet to really push the throttle on getting these types of ecosystem players, other than preliminary design partners, which are key, again, to get people to start using and testing and building preliminary applications on our stack. But we really haven't done an all-out push yet for ecosystem growth. This is what we're planning with some really key stakeholders, and this is what the BD team's focusing pretty hard on right now. So they are talking to investment funds all over the world. In particular, some really big ones from Asia have been signing up recently as strategic partners. And we're going through just the motion here and really relying on those who have been part of growing other ecosystems, again, like Polkadot and some of these other competitor blockchain projects on the market, who have experience building those ecosystems and investing heavily in those types of key ecosystem pillar projects, are now coming over with us, and we're relying on them to help cultivate a strategy for our ecosystem growth, really an explosion in that growth. So awesome job to Dean and the BD team for doing that. Complementary to that, the product team's also been working on a portal for startups who have ideas to actually pitch, pitch their ideas for entrepreneurs, for developers, to VCs that are actually investing real money and growing the Horizen ecosystem. So this portal is going to be a key part. You could think like HDE, but one really geared towards entrepreneurs and developers who want to pitch ideas versus just us curating projects and ideas for people to work on. It's a different approach at a similar problem, but really garnering a lot more ecosystem participation. We had another great tech strategy session last week, which I'd say have been coming on just really well. The focus last week was on just wallet strategy, Sendu compatibility, because we have a whole bunch of applications and just GitHub repositories. If you go to our GitHub, you can check out all of the repositories that are there that are currently functioning. Some of these are for projects that are older, and some of them are very relevant in operating projects today, but they all need to be compatible with the Sendu software that's going to be released towards the end of October, just post-deprecation. And then we focused on a whole bunch of tools that we need to develop immediately, really, or I should say as soon as possible, to open up the ecosystem. That one mandate, that really important mandate on opening up the ecosystem, is really driving a lot of the strategy conversation. And one thing that stood out, just a shift in how we add projects, thinking about what we're going to focus resources on, what we're going to do. Over the last year, we had a big push, in particular on the BD side, the product side, of thinking, like, okay, we need to now get a whole bunch of interest on people that want to build on the ecosystem in advance of actually releasing the software. And they did a fantastic job, but it was really focused on, like, what are some key verticals that we think might be interesting for using the stack that we're releasing, or key partners that are going to help with growing our ecosystem. But it was focused more at the individual project level of which are really high profile projects, like Celsius as an example, like IOTA as another example, that we want to bring into the ecosystem to signal quality, but also really to get some of the top minds in the industry who are doing really important things, to get them to do some of these really important things on Horizen. Now, the way that we're shifting a little bit of how we think is we're not just taking on projects on the previous criteria. Now we're really thinking not necessarily on individual merits, but on, is this project going to fit into our overall strategy? Is it going to accelerate our strategy? So for instance, what we want to do is every project that the product team is going to work on, we want to make sure that the outcome of that project is a module that now other people that are not us, not Horizen Labs, not the foundation, not the particular design partner themselves, but other independent developers or companies, whoever wants to build in the ecosystem, can now have modules that come to spin out of these projects that they can now take and just build on their own. Right. So that's the ultimate goal here. Is over the coming year, it's all about ecosystem development, on getting other people in and doing important work to build the important pillars of the Horizen ecosystem. It's not going to be us. We're going to provide the tools, support, channel resources, connect the right stakeholders, but really it's about catalyzing that independent growth for the ecosystem. So a lot more of that to come. And right now you're just seeing some of these early foundational elements being put into place, but it's going to get a lot more fun. And Angie, I will stop here and we can open it up to any Q&A that you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob, for the great updates as well. So the first question, and I'll also thank you everyone for contributing with them. So the first question is, there is a lot to talk about the environmental impact of proof-of-work mining. How will the Horizen ecosystem fit into this discussion with our use of sidechains and both proof-of-work and proof-of-stake?
So great question. And for those who know this, Zuko from Zcash actually put together a pitch to the Zcash community about going over to proof of stake. So this is very much a hot item. And I can tell you from firsthand experience on the BD side, over the last year, as our team has been going out and reaching out to people that want to build blockchain applications, one of the most fundamental questions that we always get asked, or often get asked, is, are we proof of work or are we proof of stake? What is the environmental impact of our technology? So the answer to that we've been given is yes, the main chain is proof of work. The main chain has been proof of work. It's going to be proof of work into the near future. There are no plans to change that. We just don't have that conversation yet garnered with the community. Maybe this is it. Maybe this kicks it off and we have rigorous conversation around that. What we have been doing in advance and just knowing where the trends have been going is the proof of stake, the sidechain system. We've been focusing on proof of stake technology, right? So Sendu is an agnostic interoperability protocol, right? That has nothing to do with proof of stake or proof of work. But the first sidechains that we chose to build are all proof of stake sidechains. So the beta SDK that we already have out there on testnet, that we already have out there for people to build with POCs, and the next SDK that we have for Lattice, and really everything that we've been doing have been proof of stake protocols. So you can see where we're heading, at least on the margin. And the answer to people that are concerned about this is that all of the innovation, all of these applications, all of those things that you're going to see built using our sidechain technology will all be done on proof of stake. And in a way here, at least for the foreseeable future, you get the best of both worlds, is that you get the security of a proof of work main chain that's been operational and battle tested for years, it is still out there and providing additional security for the operations that take place on proof of stake. So that said, the bigger question now is not where we are today. The bigger question is where we're going to go tomorrow. And again, my answer has been the answer for a lot of these very deep questions on macro things, is that we are focusing more on just the decision framework for how we make decisions as an ecosystem versus the particular decisions that we think are important over the coming years. Right, so this is something where I believe fundamentally we have to adhere to more of a decentralized decision framework and really get the tools in place so that we can really gauge directly, indirectly, whatever it is over the coming, say 6 to 12 months. We need to have a real way of making community decisions. It's open, transparent, vigorous debate. I want to hear everyone from every particular. I want to see every side of every debate represented, and I want to see adherents try to beat up every side of every debate. I don't want just a particular sliver of sentiment in the community on a particular issue just dominating conversations. I want to see real open intellectual debates on everything that's important. So again, this comes with the soft stuff, like the processes that we set up in place, like the ZenEP that the first ZenEP that's being published on Sendu, and then the subsequent ones for open community transparency and conversation, to the actual tools like voting systems. So we're going to get all these things in place. We're working on it. The critical dependency for the voting system has always been Sendu. That technology is imminently going to be released, and from there we are going to be working on tools for making voting a reality for the ecosystem.
Thank you, Rob. The second question is, are plans for Horizen to communicate with other chains, or if it's even possible further down the line?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible, but we don't have any projects in the pipeline for, like atomic swaps, or if you're talking about kind of cross-asset swapping across blockchains, we don't have any of that stuff in the immediate pipeline. We're really focusing on foundational tools that we need to catch up very quickly to some of these other very popular and rapidly growing ecosystems. We know what the tools are. They're all part of our roadmap. We're racing forward on them. Sendu is a really key part of that. And then we're going to see tokens issued in the Horizen ecosystem. And then we're going to see interoperability of tokens across sidechains. And then from there, we'll look at what people decide to build out there and whether or not people decide to focus resources and invest time and other resources into cross-chain compatibility.
Okay, the third question is, what do you see as the biggest obstacles for mainstream adoption?
That's a big one. I like to default to my something I've been saying for years is that I think that privacy is really important whenever you want to publish data into a public ledger. And that's why we've been a privacy-oriented project from the start, and why we've decided to go very much down this path of zero-knowledge cryptography, because this is that critical bridging tool, as we see it, to make blockchain go mainstream. Not just from, we've been using snarks for coin transfer, and that's something that Zcash brought to market. That's not something that we innovated on and is really fundamental to, like, we didn't bring that to market. What we're bringing to market, though, is a big multi-year investment in zero-knowledge cryptography, zero-knowledge proofs, snark implementations of them, for both cross-chain security and, importantly, for data privacy, for arbitrary data structures. This, we think, is that critical missing bridge. If blockchain is going to go mainstream for a bunch of applications that really require protection for user data, you need tools like ZKPs. And that's why we've focused very heavily on that. And this is why we believe that in the coming years, we have a massive competitive advantage over other projects, because we've been building this expertise and we've been focusing on precisely these tools. And guys, we're really close to bringing it all to market with Sendu, and then in particular with the latest implementation of Sendu, and then all of the other work that the team's doing on the back end. We have a circuits team that is just beefing up its skills and capabilities. We have a cryptography team, in our Milan office. We continue to hire key talent that over time really will manifest into strategic competitive advantage for us. And I think that time is nearing very quickly.
Thank you, Rob. And we did have a tie between the three last questions, so I'll just pick up on the fourth one. And this is, what's the best way to learn about coding on Sendu?
That's a good one. So we have some preliminary material out there, and I have to just reiterate the preliminary aspect of that. When we released the beta version of the SDK, we also released some simple examples of using it, a simple app. We had a Lambo registry app, and then we have some tutorials on it. Again, very early phases, and now where we're going is we're focusing on building out teams like a dev evangelism team, like basic documentation, like tutorials, videos, all these types of things we know we need to do, but we were focusing at its core on the technology. We did release some tools, and if you're interested in developing on a Horizen sidechain, start with what we have today, and just know that these tools are going to be significantly improving in the very near future.
Awesome. So those were the top 4 questions, and that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on our Wiki Insider. Remember to join us next Monday to provide you with the latest Horizen updates. Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.